Hello guys, I have returned to you once again today with a discussion video. Um, so, this idea has been swimming around in my head for a while since before I even started a BookTube channel. And now that I kind of have a channel, have some people's attention, I thought I would throw this out there and see what people do with it. And it's this idea of positive reviews versus negative reviews. So you have a book that you like. We're kind of assuming that you like this book, and someone does a positive review of it. That person clearly, because they liked it, will have thought about it a fair amount and can give you new insights, can give you new analyses of themes, about character arcs, whatever, what have you. For instance, I mentioned Women in Love in a previous video, and how I was in a class and another student kind of did this interesting analysis of a scene in that, and gave a really new, insights about a sex scene that may actually have been an anal sex scene, even though on the surface it seemed like a vaginal sex scene, and that really gave a deeper insight into kind of the relationship between the two people involved in this sex scene. And so positive reviews are, I'm not here to say that positive reviews are bad, but I think there's something that negative reviews do that positive reviews just can't. I think that negative reviews, because a person has come along and said that they do not like a book or that they think a book is bad, because there's one person who says that, then there's at least a 0.5% of a chance that they're right, at least. Perhaps more, perhaps much more, depending on the book. And with a positive review, you're left feeling secure in your evaluation of the book. But in a negative review, you are forced, you're not just invited, but you're forced to really evaluate why you think that is a good book, why you think that it's a worthwhile book to read, and why its story and characters or what have you are compelling. And it may happen that you're convinced by the negative review. You may watch the negative review, listen to the person's arguments, and try your best to refute them, but just can't. And if you change your evaluation, that is not hypocrisy. That is intellectual honesty, for me anyway. And even if you don't change your evaluation, you've been forced to think about it more. You've been forced to think about it more deeply, and you'll come out with a deeper understanding of the book. You might even come out liking it more. And maybe that person, maybe the arguments that person makes in their negative review, maybe they're compelling points. Maybe you can't refute them, but maybe you can accept them and still find reasons for it to be a compelling story or a compelling novel or whatever we're talking about. So that, there's a lot there with negative reviews. And I will say the thing that set me off on this thinking pattern was a book review that a booktuber did a long time ago. They will remain nameless, but they kind of started their video with kind of a preface saying, this is going to be a negative review, I really hated this book, etc., 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 etc. So if you like the book, you won't want to watch this, is sort of what the gist of what the person said. And that really bugged me. And for these reasons that, when I like a book, I actually like to see negative reviews. I like to see detractors from books that I like, because either maybe they'll convince me, or maybe I will be forced to come up with deeper reasons for liking the book. So, yeah. Anyway, I guess this is just kind of me saying the merits of watching negative reviews of books that you like. And that is, I want to have an addendum that if the negative review, there are negative reviews, not all reviews in general are created equal, obviously. But if a negative review is like just kind of vitriolic, or not very thought out, or political, I guess. Like, a deeply religious Catholic comes out and is angry that a Catholic priest is portrayed as a pedophile or something. That's not really a compelling negative review. Or if, for example, if someone's doing a negative review of Moby Dick, and they say they didn't like the book because Ahab is an egomaniacal jerk, the only response you have to make is, well, that's the point. And by the way, if you ever meet anyone who likes Moby Dick because they really like and admire Captain Ahab, then you might want to avoid that person. But yeah, and that point is, to me, brought on by another experience I had, where after I read Gilead by Marilynne Robinson, I right afterward was like, oh my god, this book, and I was like raving about it in my mind. I didn't have a booktube channel then, but I was like, this is so great, this is going to be one of my new favorites. I go to Goodreads. One of the top reviews is a 1-star review, and one of the first sentences is, "This must be the first plotless novel I've ever read." And, Gilead, you don't read Gilead because it has any kind of a gripping plot or, a twist at the end or anything. You read it for, nuanced characters and emotions and things like that. So, anyway, that's just my little addendum. So, I would love to hear other people's thoughts on negative versus positive reviews. If anyone wants to leave comments or video responses, I would love that. I just wanted to throw this out there. So, yeah, thank you all for watching. Goodbye.